Melissa, what did you want to say to Hunter?
What is your motive with your website? Is this money? Is it?
No, it's just getting that information out to everybody.
The most hated man on the internet. It's a title few would be proud to have, but for Hunter Moore, he almost seems proud of being a self-proclaimed professional life ruiner thanks to the controversial website Is Anyone Up? With Netflix releasing, or having released, depending on when you watch this, the most hated man on the internet true crime series, Hunter Moore's name is on the rise. With that, I'm Adam Andrews, and today on Where Are They Now, we're talking about, you guessed it, Hunter Moore. Hunter Moore was born in Sacramento, California on March 9th, 1986, and from a young age, Hunter followed an entrepreneur lifestyle. This started as early as the 8th grade, not too long after being kicked out of his Christian private school, apparently just for fighting. Moore started a t-shirt company. He would go on to start a community online for Diablo 2, a video game. Around the same time, he also started a party promotion business that made him enough money for him to realize that he didn't have much of a knack or need for academics. And instead, he focused his efforts and time on making money and creating business opportunities using the growing and seemingly limitless internet as his tool. Moore lived on the fringes. After he turned 18, he would work as a hairstylist for an adult movie website until he won a 6-figure sexual harassment lawsuit and used the money he won to travel, like a blight, through Europe and Japan, presumably partying and living it up, coming to stay in Australia for a year. He came back home to the States after he got scabies. After his likely soul-searching travels, that was a joke, and his return to the States, he started a company that specialized in sexual parties. He promptly sold this company, as this, of all the things he's done, was where he drew the line, which is interesting given what would come next. Now for the meat and potatoes. In 2010, Hunter Moore started the website known as IsAnyoneUp.com. This website was a social media site where anonymous users could upload compromising photos, usually of their exes, for others to see. But it didn't stop there. The posts would usually not just include the photos, but the name, address, workplace, family information, and sometimes more of the subject of the picture. This obviously not only socially and psychologically damaged many victims, most of whom had their photos posted without their consent, but it also meant that any one of the 350,000 separate website viewers could find, message, email, and harass anyone whose photos were posted on this website. But this didn't matter to Moore. He would refuse requests for posts to be taken down. He would claim he was protected by the same laws that protected Facebook, and he responded to cease and desist letters with a simple LOL. This was likely because, on top of the popularity and cult-like following thanks to his non-apologetic attitude and bragging about the website, Hunter would also profit from the website thanks to ad revenue and merchandise, pulling in around $8,000 to $13,000 to sometimes $30,000 a month. None of that stopped him from getting stabbed with a pen in the shoulder though by one of the victims who made a visit to his home, which kind of made me happy to learn. He also understandably received many threats, which forced him to move into his grandparents' house, which is kind of hilarious. To add to the controversy, many of the victims of Moore's website claimed that their photos and videos had been hacked and stolen off of their personal computers. In 2012, Moore and a hacker named Charles Evans, who went under the alias of Gary Jones, were suspected of hacking-related crimes, with Moore paying Evans to break into the email accounts of victims and steal photos to then post. Charlotte Laws, the mother of one of the victims on the site, decided to track Moore down. With the help of a former Marine, James McGivney, Laws conducted a 2-year-long investigation, compiling evidence from more than 40 victims and gave it to the FBI in an attempt to bring down the horrible site, resulting in an FBI investigation. Moore whined and threatened people over the rumors over the investigation, just like a giant man-baby would. But that didn't stop the investigation, and if anything, it likely added fuel to his dumpster fire. A fire that would reach a climax on January 23rd of 2014 when Moore was indicted in a federal court in California following his arrest by the FBI on charges of conspiracy, unauthorized access to a protected computer, and aggravated identity theft. Crimes committed to obtain the revealing photos of unwilling men and women. While Moore was released 2 days later from Sacramento County Jail on a $100,000 bond with no access to the internet and orders to dismantle the Is Anyone Up database under FBI supervision, on February 18, 2015, Moore pled guilty to the Central District of California U.S. Attorney's Office, admitting to aiding and abetting the unauthorized access of a computer and aggravated identity theft. Thanks to his plea, the professional life ruiner could serve 2 to 7 years in prison with a $500,000 fine. In the end, though, Moore was sentenced to 2.5 years in a federal prison with 3 additional years of supervised probation. He was also ordered to pay a $2,000 fine and a $146 restitution, and was ordered to delete all the data on the computers that had been seized. His accomplice hacker, Charles Evans, also pled guilty to the charges of computer hacking and identity theft, saying that he had stolen hundreds of pictures from email accounts and sold them to Hunter Moore. For those crimes, Evans was sentenced to 7 years in a federal prison on November 16, 2015, which is good and everything, but it makes me question why Hunter was sentenced to only 2 years when he organized everything, but I digress. So where is he now? Hunter Moore stated in his 2012 Rolling Stone interview that after he sold his website, he felt that there was enough internet mayhem under his name that he can ride that wave of infamous popularity onto greatness, whatever the heck that means. But it seems that now that he has faced repercussions for his actions, that won't be the case. Personally, I hadn't even heard of him until making this video, and while I'm no insignificant, it just goes to show that a few years of disgustingly earned quote-unquote fame doesn't really do much for you, does it? Moore was released from prison in May of 2017, and it seems that he now keeps a low profile. According to Netflix, Hunter was initially going to appear and take part in the Most Hated Man on the Internet docuseries, but it seems that he is pulled out of the project for reasons unknown, but hopefully because he is realizing that he is kind of a poo-poo human being. According to Wikipedia, Hunter Moore still remains banned from using Facebook, and let's hope that applies to most social media outlets for the foreseeable future. As for the Is Anyone Up website, well, it turns out that on April 19, 2012, 16 months after the website had gone live, Hunter had sold the website to an anti-bullying website run by James McGibbony, the same former Marine who helped Charlotte Laws in her investigation against Moore. James McGibbony then rerouted IsAnyoneUp.com to go directly to the Bullyville.com website. James actually wrote a letter to Moore basically intellectually bullying the life ruiner into giving his website up. And to add insult to injury, a year later on March 8th of 2013, James also won a $250,000 defamation case against Hunter Moore after he called McGibbony some not so nice stuff and threatened his wife. No one ever said this Moore guy was too bright. The previously mentioned Netflix docuseries will premiere on the 27th of this month, July 2022, and the synopsis for the 3-part series reads, and I quote, "Featuring poignant, exclusive interviews with multiple women and men who fought to have their images taken down, law enforcement agents who worked the case, and the crusaders who fought to take Moore down. This 3-part series documents his comeuppance at the hands of the only force more fearsome than an army of internet trolls, a mother protecting her daughter."
Concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born.
What?
Meghan Markle was reportedly in London when the former Queen of England passed away. However, most recent reports state that she was actually disinvited from Elizabeth's bedside in her final few hours. I'm your host Michaela, let's jump right in. Meghan Markle, Duchess of Sussex, is an American member of the British royal family and a former actress, due to her marriage to the Duke of Sussex, Prince Harry. While she was active as an actress, her most notable portrayal is linked to her starring role in Suits as Rachel Zane. Aside from small screen works, Meghan also works as a blogger and once served as an editor-in-chief for the lifestyle brand The Tig before discontinuing in April 2017. Meghan was appointed as a World Vision Canada Global Ambassador in 2016 and has worked as a direct advocate for gender equality and the empowerment of women alongside the United Nations entity. She made her marriage to Prince Harry official in a lavish 2018 ceremony guested by numerous celebrities around the world. Following their wedding, Meghan was titled Duchess of Sussex as part of the royals. However, in 2020, the couple stepped down as senior members and relocated to California. Born Rachel Meghan Markle on August 4th, 1981 is the mixed-race current Duchess. Her father is a Caucasian-Irish Emmy-winning lighting director named Thomas W. Markle, while her mother is an African-American therapist and yoga instructor named Doria Radlin. Meghan also has a stepsister from Thomas's side of the family. Once Thomas and Doria were divorced, Meghan spent a lot of time with her father on sets of Married with Children. As a child, Meghan attended the Hollywood Little Red Schoolhouse and later went on to study at an all-girls independent Roman Catholic secondary school in LA called Immaculate Heart High. For university, Meghan was admitted into Northwestern in Illinois, where she graduated with double majors in international studies and theater in 2003. After her completion, Meghan worked as a US Embassy intern in Buenos Aires. Time magazine added Meghan to their 100 most influential people in the world list in 2016. Meghan's romantic affairs prior to Harry started with producer Trevor Ingleson in 2004. These two tied the knot on September 10, 2011, but eventually split in August 2013 after 20 months. The year after, Meghan began seeing restaurateur and Canadian celebrity chef Corey Vitiello. However, their fling only remained intact until 2016. As per reports, Meghan acquainted herself with Harry in London, where she visited to watch her friend and sports star Serena Williams play in June 2016. Soon after, the pair made it official and sparked headlines once their engagement was announced. Meghan became Google's most searched personalities in 2016, and the pair eventually leveled up to fiancé status officially on November 27, 2017. In line with Meghan's engagement to Harry, she retired as an actor. Of course, the twosome's marriage followed shortly after, on May 19, 2018 to be exact. The ceremony took place at St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle with a guest list of over 600 people, including the Queen and additional family royals of importance. In May of the next year, Meghan and Harry became parents, welcoming their firstborn Archie, and then again with their daughter Lilibet in 2021. Yet, if we rewind a bit, in January 2020 we saw Meghan and Harry's announcement of stepping down from their senior member roles in the royal family. This decision meant the pair would be forced to divide their time between the UK and North America. When Meghan spoke to Oprah Winfrey in 2021, there were allegations from the Duchess about racism against the British royal household, and Meghan even made the admission that she nearly ended her life while she was directly a part of the British royalty. Thankfully, Meghan and Harry have found a balance in settling in Riven Rock, California presently. Becoming an actress growing up brought about some difficulties for Meghan, according to the Duchess. Due to her mixed-race upbringing, she hinted that being an actress was not her ideal choice for the mostly label-driven industry, where roles are usually given with strict ethnic descriptions. Nevertheless, one of Meghan's pals showed one of her college student films to a manager who broke Meghan into the entertainment industry. Yet, Meghan originally found work difficult to seek because of her ethnicity, as she often described being not black nor white enough to snag one. Eventually though, Meghan ended up bagging an episode appearance for her General Hospital role in 2002. Since then, Meghan has obtained many TV show features, but her official breakout as an actor came with Suits in 2011, which ran for 7 seasons from 2011 to 2017. Her prominence only climbed higher in Hollywood when Meghan snagged other small screen works for Fringe, CSI New York, Cuts, Deal or No Deal, 90210, Without a Trace, Knight Rider, and CSI Miami. Her most successful big screen roles were for the 2010 film Remember Me and the 2011 movie Horrible Bosses. If you're enjoying today's WATN, help our channel grow by subscribing. Now, let's discuss where Meghan actually was when the Queen passed and how it relates to what we currently know. As per reports, Meghan's absence wasn't a mistake, especially after finding out that Prince Harry arrived by himself when he went to visit his late grandmother. Apparently, Meghan was not invited to be by her side, and even more, royal expert Katie Nicholl detailed that the Duchess understood she was not included when Harry was informed that Elizabeth was on her deathbed, equating to why he was solo for the trip and visit. This hasn't stopped speculations, however. Some assume Meghan bowed out of respect for her husband, but other sources are concluding that this decision was made by higher powers in the royal family and Meghan had no say in it. Regardless though, expert Katie also explained that Meghan had agreed to visit the castle at another point in time, as she was already stationed in London for work-related matters and a since-cancelled event prior to the late Queen's death. Like Meghan, Kate Middleton was not in the company of Prince William in Scotland, but she and William clarified that it was because she had to stay back with their 3 children at Windsor Castle. Still, now there are talks about Meghan possibly not being present for the funeral. Previous British public affairs official Shannon Felton Spence had broken down that the Duke and Duchess were already traveling before the monarchy lost their ruler. But Meghan could very well return to California before the service to be with her 2 children as well. Shannon has stated on this topic, Harry will likely stay in the UK until the funeral. I can't imagine Meghan won't attend, but again, from a human perspective, Meghan was expecting to leave the kids for 6 days, not weeks, so may not be possible for her to stay the whole time. In a better turn of events though, both Harry and Meghan joined the remainder of the royal family in attendance to greet Elizabeth's coffin on Tuesday at Buckingham Palace. Before her passing, Elizabeth was publicly spotted that same day, appointing the UK's newest Prime Minister, Liz Truss. By the afternoon, the minister had tweeted a response to the palace's statement statement regarding the Queen's health with, "The whole country will be deeply concerned by the news from Buckingham Palace this lunchtime. My thoughts and the thoughts of people across our United Kingdom are with Her Majesty the Queen and her family at this time." As Elizabeth's body arrived in Scotland, the Sussex were in attendance with William, Kate, King Charles III, and freshly appointed Queen Consort Camilla. This marked the couple's first time publicly appearing with William and Kate since March 2020, when pictures of them together were taken for that year's Commonwealth Day. Rumors that Meghan's absence in Scotland was originally due to Kate's decision to stay arose from their heavily publicized sighting. But a Page 6 insider dished that William had given the extended invite to his estranged brother and his wife. A royal source expressed their gratefulness for both parties being able to set their differences aside for the sake of the former queen. While there, the royal group viewed the floral tributes and stopped to thank the public in attendance for their support. Meghan herself was quite the social butterfly here, as she chatted with many people, asking them their names and even agreeing to a requested hug from one. And yet, her positivity was dulled by one particular occurrence during the occasion. When she was given a bouquet of flowers by the crowd, one aide attempted to grab them from her to lay at the memorial, but Meghan politely declined by thanking them and requesting to take them over herself. However, there was another senior aide who followed Meghan around when she received additional flowers. This one insisted on taking them, and Meghan ended up obliging. A Twitter user sparked commotion on the app when they posted both interactions on their account with the caption, "The big guns had to step in when Meghan refused to let go of the flowers the first aide tried to take from her, as she herself wanted to walk them over to the other tributes." Naturally, fans on Twitter were pretty divided over the situation. Some pointed out the fact that it was potentially protocol that the royals immediately hand off the flower to the aides, while others described Meghan's gesture as sweet, among other things. In other news, following Elizabeth's death, the former Prince Charles has become king, and his wife Camilla is now the Queen Consort. William and Kate now hold the titles of Duke and Duchess of Cornwall and Cambridge, with future possibilities of becoming the Prince and Princess of Wales. And little Archie and Lilibet from parents Meghan and Harry have now been deemed Prince and Princess because of their grandfather's ascension to the throne. However, Meghan and Harry will most likely not receive any new additions to their current titles. This could be due to their non-use of HRH designations when they step back as senior royals. They still do hold onto their Duke and Duchess titles though, but their kids are technically now a Prince and Princess regardless. Due to the 1971 changes King George V created from their original traditions of automatic rights with the ascension of a new monarch, the updated protocols in place established that the children and grandchildren granted by the sovereign are automatically entitled to either the Royal Highness or Prince and Princess titles. When Archie and Lilibet were born, they were only the great-grandchildren of a sovereign, which means they had no royal titles. Still, there is a possibility that King Charles can revoke the newfound titles of his grandchildren during his ruling. When Meghan had spoken with Oprah, as aforementioned, she explained that the royal family had spoken about adjusting the rules in order to keep Archie from adopting his princely title. In addition to this, Meghan admitted that while she was pregnant with Archie, it was the family's decision not to grant him his HRH and Prince positions, which had direct connections to the concerning decision of how quote dark the baby's skin would be at the time. There's also the additional possibility that Archie's parents will choose not to grant the newest titles to Archie and their daughter Lilibet, just like other royals Princess Anne and Prince Edward have previously done with their own children.
Did you have a good look at her face during that conversation?
Yes.
Amber Heard's name seems much more synonymous with the case she's been embroiled in with her ex Johnny Depp than she does with the movie she's in. As I write this script, the live stream of the trial between Amber and Johnny is currently underway. Text messages were revealed between the former lovers that show just how toxic and violent the relationship got, with cops being called and extremely harsh words being spoken between one another. Celebrities have also been called to testify, including actors like Jason Momoa and people like Elon Musk. Just a warning, I am going to remain relatively impartial during this whole thing to show just facts rather than diluting it with my own opinion on the whole thing. So let's catch up with just how the trial is going between Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. Today we're covering Amber Heard. Tomorrow though, you decide. Let us know in the comments down below who you think we should cover on the next episode of Where Are They Now? And don't forget to hit the like button for more content just like this. Let's get into it. Amber Heard was born in Austin, Texas, to a very outdoorsy family that would routinely horseback ride, fish, and hunt. Amber herself was very involved in the scene and raised stoutly Catholic throughout her childhood. However, when she was a teenager, Heard began identifying as an atheist after her best friend passed tragically in a car crash. A year after the tragedy that left Amber in shambles, she stated that she, quote, no longer felt comfortable in conservative, God-fearing Texas, and decided to move to Los Angeles to pursue acting while earning her high school diploma through a home study course. In her mid-teens, living in LA by herself, Amber began her work in acting straight away. She started appearing in small television and music video roles in the early 2000s. A few years into her career, she began receiving leading roles in C-list slasher movies and teen dramas. Her first big break came about in 2008 when she obtained a role in the cult classic comedy Pineapple Express. She went on to star in much higher profile films alongside actors like Nicolas Cage and Demi Moore. In 2017, Heard landed a role in the movie Justice League as Aquaman's love interest. And up until now, she was set to appear in the next installment of the film, set to be released near the end of 2022, but more on that later. Amber Heard was embroiled in 2014 in a mass celebrity lewd photo leak where several celebrities had their private photos distributed without their consent. Being a victim of having private images leaked has led Amber to write an op-ed about feeling taken advantage of during the digital age and how easy it is for predators to access your information. Now, let's get into the controversy that has Amber almost completely consumed. Back in 2011, she first met Johnny Depp on the set of a movie. The pair began dating near the end of 2011, beginning of 2012. This came on the coattails of Depp's separation from his partner of 14 years. Before we fully get into their relationship, it is worth noting that Amber had been arrested back in 2009 for harming her then-girlfriend in Washington, wherein it was alleged that she aggressively grabbed and hit her girlfriend. All the charges were dropped, however, with the alleged victim herself stating that it was blown way out of proportion. Anyways, back to the Depp-Heard romance. The pair got engaged in 2014 and ended up getting married a year later. Their relationship would only last until mid-2016, however, when Heard officially files for divorce from Johnny and accuses him of physically harming her. She claimed that he hurt her when he was under the influence of substances. My language here has to be careful because of YouTube, just so you know. She further says that he threw his phone at her and left her with a bruised face. However, the cops released a report stating that when they showed up to the couple's home on the call of harm, they found that no crime had actually taken place. Johnny Depp, meanwhile, vehemently denied these accusations and accused Amber of, quote, attempting to secure a premature financial resolution by alleging harm. Initially, when the case was just beginning, a $7 million settlement was agreed upon outside of court, where Depp paid Heard the money and they both released a joint statement stating that, quote, our relationship was intensely passionate and at times volatile, but always bound by love. Neither party has made false accusations for financial gain. So it seems like they both freely admitted that Johnny Depp hurt Amber Heard, and Hollywood would react accordingly. In the midst of holding high-profile individuals accountable for their actions, Depp was basically blacklisted from work for quite some time. He was dropped from movies, and no one was going to hire him. In 2018, a year after their divorce was finalized, Amber wrote a Washington Post op-ed about the treatment of women in domestic harm cases. Despite never naming Johnny himself, it's pretty clear who the article was aimed towards. Due to this article, Depp sued Heard for $50 million, accusing her of defamation of character, and basically lying in her piece. In the lawsuit, Depp accuses Heard of lying about being hurt by Johnny, and instead he claims that she hurt him. In a court filing that attempted to cancel the charges, Heard details multiple instances of harm and even refers to Johnny Depp as a monster. The pair continue to throw accusations at one another, with Depp claiming that the actress cheated on him with James Franco and Elon Musk, and Heard claimed she still has scars on her arms from when her ex allegedly dragged her through broken glass. All this seems pretty confusing, and a lot of he said, she said. That was until in 2020 when phone recordings were released in which Heard admits to hitting Johnny Depp. In the recordings, she says, quote, I'm sorry that I hit you across the face in a proper slap, but I wasn't hitting you. It was not punching you. Babe, you're not punched. The conversation then continues, with Depp claiming he left because he didn't want their fight to get uglier, and Heard replying, quote, I can't promise you I won't get physical again. God, sometimes I get so mad I lose it. This is the most solid, damning evidence to date that the public has been made aware of that would officially prove that Amber was the one committing harm rather than the other way around. During the lawsuits, two of Johnny Depp's former relationships, including the 14-year one he had prior to Amber, both claim that Johnny had never hurt them nor made any indication of him hurting anyone. One ex-partner stated, quote, the idea that he is an incredibly violent person is the furthest thing from the Johnny I know and loved. I cannot wrap my head around these accusations. As of right now, Johnny Depp has been denied 2 separate times an appeal of the court's ruling that he had harmed Amber, despite all the evidence against her. His defense lawyer has this to say about the ruling. Quote, "Most troubling is the judge's reliance on the testimony of Amber Heard and corresponding disregard of the mountain of counter evidence from police officers, medical practitioners, her own former assistant, other unchallenged witnesses, and an array of documentary evidence which completely undermines the allegations point by point." Despite the legal ruling that completely sides with Amber Heard, which resulted in Johnny Depp being asked to step down from his role in the Harry Potter spin-off Fantastic Beasts, the public has very clearly sided with Depp. The legal fight definitely is not over though. As it stands now, Johnny is suing Amber for defamation, claiming that her allegations against him are false and constitute mischaracterization. The results of this trial could finally turn the case in Depp's favor. While the public is very clearly sided with him, so far the court has been completely obstinate. What we know right now of the cases that are currently in progress is that more and more texts are being revealed in court with just how violent things got. They're recounting testimonies, and Johnny is claiming that Amber's false accusation led him to lose movie roles and made it difficult for him to supplement his income. It seems like based on the evidence, both parties have been extremely harmful to one another. They both instigated fights and egged each other on, where harm became common and expected. At the end of the day, it seems like a genuinely toxic space, but very obviously, Amber has been let off with a much easier sentence. She retains movie roles. Well, until now. Following the verdict that denies Depp's defamation lawsuit, a Change.org petition was started that demanded Heard be fired from her newest movie, Aquaman 2. The petition reached 2 million people who signed it, and in January, it was confirmed by the director of the film that she had indeed been released from filming and would not appear in the latest installment. Only time will tell just how messy this will continue to be. And as it stands with the trial in progress, I wish I had more information than I do, but it's just not available.
The missing component was me loving myself and being able to take care of myself.
Jenny from the block, aka Jennifer Lopez, is a fashion icon and a massive staple for the Latin community. With a net worth of $45 million, J-Lo's love don't cost a thing. She's a dancer, actor, producer, and all-round phenomenal entertainer. J-Lo became the first Latin actress to earn over $1 million for a film. With her drop-dead gorgeous looks, Jennifer Lopez danced her way into our hearts and the hearts of many men. After several failed relationships, J-Lo struggled to find her self-image as she was constantly being told she was too much or not enough. With her provocative looks and racy dance moves, J-Lo found it hard for people to take her seriously in any career she was trying to pursue. J-Lo was a college dropout and was kicked out of her family home, left with no support other than her dreams. J-Lo moved to the big city and was actually homeless while she tried to get her dancing career started. After years of self-doubt, wondering whether she's good enough for relationships, talented enough to be an actress, or popular enough to create hit music, J-Lo proved to the world that she wouldn't give up and wasn't going to hide from any failures. Jennifer Lopez was raised in a Puerto Rican household and was always surrounded by music. Her parents would often encourage her to dance and sing while celebrating her Latin heritage. J-Lo landed her first big role when she was featured as a dancer on In Living Color. When she originally auditioned for the show, another dancer beat her for one of the Fly Girl openings on the show, but she finally got her spot the following year. When she wasn't dancing on TV, J-Lo was on stage as a backup dancer for New Kids on the Block and Janet Jackson. J-Lo's first big acting role was in the movie Money Train, which she starred alongside Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson. In 1996, Jennifer was given the privilege to play Selena in the biopic titled Selena. This would have been a huge honor for J-Lo and her Latin heritage. Jennifer continued to dance and act until she decided to take on another talent, releasing her very first album in 1999 called On the Six. Around this time, J-Lo was dating P. Diddy, or Puff Daddy. The two met on the set of a music video and dated for a short while until breaking up in 2001. J-Lo and Puff Daddy actually got into some trouble with the law during their relationship. The couple got arrested and charged for criminal possession of a weapon and possession of stolen property after they left the scene of a fatal incident in New York City. Charges for J-Lo were dropped within the hour, but P. Diddy was acquitted. Diddy was also unfaithful during their entire relationship, so J-Lo had to call it off. Even though the relationship was a failure, Diddy has said that she was one of his greatest loves of all time, and the two have remained friends till this day. It was also around this time that we were all witness to The Dress. You know what I'm talking about. The beautiful green, extreme deep V jungle print sheer floor length Versace gown. J-Lo actually didn't think the dress was that risky. She said in an interview, quote, "I was more excited it was the Grammys. I wasn't even thinking about the dress that much. I was just glad I had something to wear." She actually didn't choose the dress until the day of. Jennifer was ready to slay the game and started gaining more acting roles before the release of her second album, titled after her newly introduced nickname, J-Lo. In 2001, the green-dressed goddess married Chris Judd, who was a dancer on her Love Don't Cost a Thing music video. It was a short and sweet relationship, and the couple separated in 2002 and finalized their divorce in 2003. Apparently, it just didn't work out, as they each had their own baggage they were bringing to the table. Jennifer continued to look ahead in her future rather than dwelling on her past. She spent more time on her acting career and snagged a lead role in the film Made in Manhattan that grossed over $18 million opening weekend. In 2002, J-Lo and Ben Affleck had just gotten engaged after they started a movie together, which was a huge box office flop. Thankfully, it didn't completely kill J-Lo's acting career. Jennifer met on the set of a movie, but J-Lo was still married to Chris Judd at this time. After she and Judd split, J-Lo and Affleck went public. Quote, "We didn't try to have a public relationship. We just happened to be together at the birth of the tabloids, and it was like, oh my god. It was just a lot of pressure," said J-Lo. Ben proposed to her later in 2002 with a $2.5 million Harry Winston ring. Everything was going well for the happy couple until late 2003 when the wedding was postponed. Actually, they called the whole thing off 4 days before the wedding. J-Lo was questioning her sense of self and wondered if she was even meant to be in the acting world. She was devastated that everyone saw her relationship fail. J-Lo actually endured many failed relationships during her life, but has proven time and time again that nothing can keep her down. In 2004, J-Lo married Mark Anthony in secret. The couple was only dating for 6 months before that, and then had twin babies Max and Emmy 4 years later in 2008. J-Lo and Mark's marriage sadly ended in 2014. It was a painful and difficult decision, but J-Lo was tired of barely hanging on and knew their marriage wouldn't last. J-Lo spoke about their marriage saying, quote, "When my marriage ended, it was not easy to find forgiveness. It wasn't the dream I had hoped for, and it would have been easier if the fans' flames of resentment, disappointment, and anger. But Mark is the father of my children, and that's why it's never going away. So I have to make things right. And that is by far the hardest work I do." J-Lo and Mark have shared custody of the twins and are currently co-parenting without any issues. In 2011, after J-Lo spent time focusing on her acting career and love life, she was back and ready to make some noise. J-Lo became a judge on American Idol and released her new album that featured the hit song On the Floor. But it wasn't long until Jenny from the Block found herself in yet another failed relationship. In 2011, she began dating Casper Spark. He was a backup dancer for J-Lo, who she hired as her creative director for her upcoming Vegas residency. They were dating for a few years until 2014, when Casper was exposed for exchanging photos and messages on Instagram with a model. Casper and J-Lo split up, but were off and on until 2016, ending it for good. I'm assuming J-Lo called it off due to Casper's inability to keep it in his pants, and Casper, to this day, still won't stop talking about how the fact he dated J-Lo. In 2016, J-Lo landed a Vegas residency. She grossed more than $100 million with 120 shows, making it the 6th biggest Vegas residency of all time. J-Lo continued to search for love and even ended up dating Drake for a few months in 2017. They actually went on tons of dates that Drake had planned and set up, including a prom where the two were crowned king and queen. But the couple grew apart when Drake left for tour. In 2017, J-Lo started dating Alex Rodriguez. The two first met in 2005 at a Yankees game, but didn't make their official couple debut until the 2017 Met Gala red carpet event. J-Lo and A-Rod started to blend their families, as family was very important and at the forefront of Latin culture. In 2018, they were finally engaged. The two were looking to move in together and with their new blended family. Around this time, J-Lo was seen wearing a diamond ring, but the couple denied the engagement, even though they knew it was in their future plans. Finally, in 2019, A-Rod popped the question while they were on vacation, and J-Lo said yes. But one day later, ball player Jose Canseco accused A-Rod of cheating on J-Lo with his ex-wife. A-Rod said in an interview, quote, "She's heard the cheating rumors in the past and has never let it bother her. Canseco was probably just jealous as he was trying to tear down A-Rod any way he could. Thankfully, the rumors didn't cause any drama between the couple, but they did put wedding plans off as they both had very busy schedules." By 2019, Jennifer Lopez was now a movie producer. Her film Hustler had grossed almost $160 million since its premiere. J-Lo continued to strive forward and was finally confident in her future relationship and career choices. In 2020, J-Lo was rocking the Super Bowl halftime show and announced that she was ready to start wedding planning. J-Lo and A-Rod had put their plans on pause due to the pandemic. But in 2021, A-Rod was accused of having an affair with Madison LaCroix, an actress that said Rodriguez never physically cheated on his fiancée with. Apparently, they were just having casual phone conversations, but they never met in person, even though there was an NDA that was signed by both LaCroix and Rodriguez. J-Lo reported about her time with A-Rod during the pandemic. "It has been actually really good. We got to work on ourselves, we did therapy. I think it was really helpful for us in our relationship." But after some time, they realized they needed to work some things out and called off the 2-year engagement. J-Lo has gone on to say, quote, "We have realized we are better as friends and look forward to remaining so. We will continue to work together and support each other on our shared business and projects. We wish the best for each other and one another's children. Out of respect for them, the only other comment we have to say is thank you to everyone who has sent kind words." Surprise! Bennifer is back! In May 2021, Ben and Jennifer were reunited. They were seen together on multiple occasions and even went away on vacation together a few times. After getting back together with Affleck, J-Lo actually deleted all pictures of her and A-Rod off her Instagram. This was a very clear message that J-Lo had officially moved on and is serious about her relationship with Ben. They're talking about their plans for the future, but are taking things slow as they want this to be a long-lasting relationship. The couple has talked about their past and why things didn't work out, but they have both matured a lot and are finally heading in the same direction. So it's very possible that they might begin to blend their families as they are looking to move in together. Rumor has it that Ben has also been looking at engagement rings, so we may finally see them head down the aisle together. As for now, J-Lo is finally feeling settled and happy in her relationship, which she spent many years struggling to find.
The truth is, I always trust my instincts. My instinct told me it's time.
Well, that's it. The Ellen DeGeneres show is finally over after almost 20 years of runtime. She was one of the first gay people to ever break into daytime television, and the Ellen DeGeneres show, or simply Ellen, became a massively successful program that carried her from a sitcom host to full-blown A-list celebrity. Her talk show ended after several people who worked on the set claimed she was an incredibly toxic and egotistical person to be around. She began being accused of basically being a horrible boss, and after a tearful video apology, people began seeing Ellen in a new light. So while not ending in the best way possible, the show did do wonders as a trailblazer for the gay community. Today we're covering Ellen DeGeneres. Tomorrow though, you decide. Let us know in the comments down below who you think we should cover on the next few episodes of Where Are They Now. Like this video so we know you enjoy it, and we can keep making more content just like it. Now let's get into it. Ellen was born in Louisiana with her brother Vance. After her parents got divorced, her mother remarried and moved to Texas. While Vance stayed with his father back in Louisiana, Ellen went to live with her mother and stepfather. She's opened up later in life about the harm that she faced from her stepfather, who did some unspeakable things to the young girl. Eventually, however, she did get to leave Texas and go to university in New Orleans and majored in communication studies. After one semester, however, she dropped out of university and did some clerical work with her cousin while working at JCPenney and waitressing at TGI Fridays. She also did small jobs painting houses and bartending. She also started to discover a passion for stand-up comedy and began regularly performing at comedy clubs and small coffee houses. By 1981, she was an MC at a comedy club in New Orleans. She kind of instantly became a hit too, because only 3 years later she began touring nationally and was named Showtime's funniest person in America. By the late 1980s, Ellen began branching into a film career. She starred in a series of films for a show called Ellen's Energy Adventure, which was part of the Universe of Energy attraction at Disney's Epcot. But really, Ellen made a name for herself in television. She began in 1989 for a short-lived Fox sitcom called Open House. The series was cancelled after only 4 episodes, but the producers were so impressed with Ellen's performance that they soon cast her in their next ABC pilot called These Friends of Mine. It was later renamed Ellen and became a massive hit, with people referring to it as Female Seinfeld. The show reached its height in popularity in 1997 after Ellen officially came out as a lesbian on The Oprah Winfrey Show. Her character on the sitcom also came out to her therapist, who was also played by Oprah Winfrey at the time. The episode was one of the highest rated in the show's entire run. That being said, her coming out was massively controversial at the time. The media basically exploded when they found out, and it left Ellen feeling really depressed because now instead of being known as a great comic on her own, she's now the lesbian comic. Everyone began labeling her for her sexuality. While Degeneres' mom was initially shocked, she eventually came around to being one of the talk show host's biggest supporters. She joined PFLAG, an organization aimed to help LGBT families in the US, and she also became a spokesperson for the Human Rights Campaign's Coming Out project. After a few years though, Ellen got cancelled after failing ratings. Not like cancelled online, but that would only lead to bigger and better things. In 2003, Ellen launched a daytime television talk show, The Ellen DeGeneres Show. One of several celebrity-hosted talk shows surfaced at the beginning of that season, including those of Sharon Osbourne and Rita Rudner. Her show has consistently risen in the Nielsen ratings and received widespread critical praise. It was nominated for 11 Daytime Emmy Awards in its first season alone, winning 4, including Best Talk Show. The show won 25 Emmy Awards for its first 3 seasons on the air. Degeneres is known for her dancing and singing with the audience at the beginning of the show and during commercial breaks. She often gives away free prizes and trips to be in her show's studio audience with the help of her sponsors. It became a mainstay on television to say the least, much like The Oprah Winfrey Show. Even when Ellen was placed on bed rest in 2007 after she tore a ligament in her back, she continued hosting from a hospital bed, and funnily enough, the guests got to stay in a hospital bed as well. In 2006, Ellen made a surprise appearance at a commencement speech in New Orleans. Ellen appeared in a bathrobe and fuzzy slippers, saying, quote, "They told me everyone would be wearing robes." On May 1st, 2009, Ellen celebrated her 1,000th episode with celebrity guests such as Oprah Winfrey, Justin Timberlake, and Paris Hilton, among a few others. The series became massively popular for the years it aired, and I mean, it did air for 19 years. But in 2018, the New York Times profiled Degeneres and said that she was faced with the decision of renewing her talk show contract and was exploring other outlets of creativity. They noted that she sometimes felt boxed in with a reputation of always being nice and the host who danced all the time. So for a few years before it was officially announced, Ellen had considered ceasing the show. But despite her reputation of always being kind and happy and easy to get along with, some rumors began circulating in 2018 by a tabloid saying that she was rude to her workers. She quickly squashed the rumors at the time, saying that they were false. Quote, "The one thing I want is for everyone to be happy and proud of where they work, and if not, don't work here." But fast forward 2 years later, in 2020, BuzzFeed News of all places began running articles in which anonymous former employees accused the show of being a toxic workplace. They also accused the executive producers of aggression and hostility, and alleged that the atmosphere of the office was tense with racist comments and microaggressions. Warner Media began an investigation, and Ellen basically immediately apologized to her staff with a memo. She wrote to them that she intended for her show to be a place where, quote, "no one would ever raise their voice and everyone would be treated with respect. I am disappointed to learn that this has not been the case." Following the investigation, 3 executives left and the show vowed to take steps to change the culture. Twitter was obviously, as it is, really upset, however, and launched a campaign to replace Ellen. Other celebrities came to her defense though, including Ashton Kutcher and Jay Leno. In her first episode back after the scandal, she made good on her promise to talk about the misconduct allegations. In her monologue, she said, quote, "As you may have heard this summer, there were allegations of a toxic work environment at our show, and then there was an investigation. I learned that things happened here that never should have happened. I take that very seriously, and I want to say I am so sorry to the people who were affected. I know that I'm in a position of privilege and power, and I realize that with that comes responsibility, and I take responsibility for what happens at my show." Controversy has continued to loom over the Emmy-winning show after a viral Twitter thread by Kevin T. Porter. The comedian solicited negative experiences related to the series and its host, whom he accused of being, quote, "notoriously one of the meanest people alive." But Ellen continued with, quote, "There were also articles in the press and on social media that said that I am not who I appear to be on TV because I am known as the Be Kind lady. And here's how that happened. I started saying, be kind to one another to close the show after a young man named Tyler Clementi took his own life after being bullied for being gay. Being known as the Be Kind Lady is a tricky position to be in. The truth is, I am that person as you see on TV. I'm also a lot of other things. Sometimes I get sad, sometimes I get mad, I get anxious, I get frustrated, I get impatient, and I'm working on all of that. And I'm a work in progress, and I'm especially working on the impatience thing, and it's not going well. It's not happening fast enough. Although the season continued to air, Ellen announced that her 18th season would be her last. And her last it was, as she said goodbye very recently in tears but with gratitude. Weirdly, there wasn't much of a grand display, however. When Oprah ended her show in 2011, over 16.4 million people tuned in. Ellen's goodbye got kind of normal ratings for the show. She ended the episode with the quote, "If I've done anything in the past 19 years, I hope I've inspired you to be yourself, your true authentic self. And if someone is brave enough to tell you who they are, be brave enough to support them even if you don't understand. By opening your heart and your mind, you're going to be that much more compassionate, and compassion is what makes the world a better place." Degeneres ended the show by walking over to a couch with a TV set in front of it, harkening back to how she opened her first episode. She tearfully looked back at her audience before settling into the couch and turning the TV off.
My pregnancy really shook me. And it kind of took everything. It's like everything else just wiped away.
Lea Michele may have girl bossed a little too close to the sun, and it's unlikely her career will ever recover. Her downfall started when she tweeted her support for the Black Lives Matter movement, a post that prompted a telling reply from co-star Samantha Ware, accusing Lea of making her, quote, first television gig a living hell. From a Broadway actress to her breakthrough role as Rachel Berry in Glee, Lea is an extremely decorated actress and singer. Despite her obvious successes in the industry, her hostile behavior on set has irrefutably damaged her career, with sponsorships being pulled and movie roles taken away. It's pretty clear that karma has come back to bite Lea in the butt. In this episode of Where Are They Now, we discuss Lea's relationship with now past co-star Corey Monteith, her cancellation and subsequent attempts at re-entry into fame, as well as her more recent interviews discussing motherhood and her upcoming studio albums. Let us know who you'd like us to cover next, and don't forget to hit the like button, please. Alright, let's get into it, shall we? Lea Michele began her career as a child actress in Broadway, being featured in productions of Les Miserables and Fiddler on the Roof. Her first breakout role, though, and likely the one everyone watching knows her from, is as the lead and star singer in the Fox series Glee. She was also in Scream Queens, a satire about a murder mystery. I really like that show. Her role in Glee was written specifically for Michele by the show's co-creator, Ryan Murphy. Obviously, the show was a massive success, winning 4 Emmys and 4 Golden Globe Awards across all 6 seasons before it ceased production in 2015. It was while on the set of the production of Glee that Lea met co-star Corey Monteith. The two started dating in 2012 and would continue to do so until Monteith's tragic passing in 2013 at the age of 31 from substance abuse. The issue of substance abuse had plagued Corey's life since he was 13 years old, and although he had stints in rehabilitation and momentary recoveries, his battles with addiction sadly ended when he was in a Vancouver hotel. Glee struggled to continue its production after his death and took numerous hiatuses to plan out how the storyline would continue without one of its main cast members. The series would awkwardly stumble through its last 2 seasons before finally concluding. Fast forward to 2018, Michele announces her engagement to businessman Zandy Reich. A year later, they got married and had a kid in August 2020. But that's not the only thing to happen to Lea Michele in 2020. In June, 2 months before she would have her baby, the actress tweeted out her support for the Black Lives Matter movement following the George Floyd protests, writing, quote, "George Floyd did not deserve this. This was not an isolated incident and it must end. Hashtag Black Lives Matter." The events that followed this seemingly innocent tweet would lead her to professional ostracization from the show business. Glee co-star Samantha Ware replied to this tweet, stating that Lea made her experiences on the show nightmarish, specifically mentioning a moment when Michele allegedly told the Glee cast and crew that if she, quote, had the opportunity, she would in my wig. Once the tweet was published, numerous co-workers of Michele's began to tell their own stories of toxic moments on the set caused by the actress. Heather Morris, a mainstay co-star also on Glee, tweeted that, quote, "Was she unpleasant to work with? Very much so. For Lea to treat others with the disrespect that she did for as long as she did, I believe she should be called out. And yet it's also on us because to allow it to go on for so long without speaking out is something else we're learning along with the rest of society."
If you watch the show Glee, it's a little ironic how closely mirrored Lea's character Rachel Berry is to the actress herself. I mean, the role was literally written for her, and the character of Rachel was insufferable as a person. I guess co-creator Ryan Murphy hit the nail on the head when it came to Lea's character. Other co-workers and co-stars of Michelle's would come forward with their own statements, ranging from Yvette Nicole Brown to Matthew Morrison, all claiming she was at the very least unpleasant to work with, and at the very most, a racist who targeted black co-workers. While a few individuals have disputed claims of racism, that did not stop Lea's sponsors from pulling out and distracting themselves from her. HelloFresh, a food delivery service, tweeted out in response to the scandal, quote, "HelloFresh does not condone racism nor discrimination of any kind. We are disheartened and disappointed to learn of the recent claims concerning Lea Michele. We take this very seriously and have ended our partnership with Lea Michele effective immediately." So what did the star herself have to say about all this? Well, in a statement posted to Instagram, Michelle explained that while she, quote, "didn't remember even making the specific statements, what matters is that I clearly acted in ways which hurt other people." She also stated in her apology, the words that always make it better, that she apologized for how her actions were perceived. Living through recent years of celebrity accountability, I always know an apology isn't gonna go great when they have to specify that how the victim felt about the situation wasn't what was actually happening, effectively dismissing the accuser's accounts. Michelle then goes on to talk about how she's going to be a first-time mother and wants to make an effort to be better not only for herself but for her future child. I don't know, I feel like the public has read enough Instagram apologies to last a lifetime, but I didn't really buy it. And I don't think a lot of other people did either. Fans felt she wasn't taking full responsibility for her own actions. One fan commented, quote, "Why do so many people keep having the same perceived experience with you?" If we're being honest though, a lot of people were just kind of fed up with the scandal. It occurred during the height of the Minnesota riots and civil unrest in America, and honestly some actors' diva attitude did nothing but divert attention from the real issues facing Americans. Now in 2021, Lea's kept her head down for the most part. She hasn't spoken further on the cancellation, but she did audition for the role of Fanny Price in the revamped Broadway musical Funny Girl. The original Funny Girl actor, esteemed Barbra Streisand, was a personal role model to Michelle, and although I'm sure the role was highly coveted by the actress, it was actress Beanie Feldstein who was cast instead. We're not entirely sure about the decision making that went into the choice of Beanie over Lea, or if Lea's previous scandal had any weight in the decision, but I for one love Beanie and think she would really ground the Funny Girl role in the modern era. Upon the announcement of Beanie's role as Funny Girl lead, Lea Michele only showed words of support for the fellow actress, stating, quote, "I had drinks with the director of the musical, Michael Meyer, the other day, and I just think that Beanie is an incredible choice for the production, and I think it's going to be so wonderful." Who knows what went on behind closed doors though for the historically self-centered actress. Lea is also releasing an album of lullabies dedicated to her newborn son, and has been featured on talk shows like The Kelly Clarkson Show to promote it. In a now routine culture of canceling celebrities and then magically forgetting about said cancellations only a few months later, it comes with disappointment but honestly no surprise that Lea is right back at it again. While the comments of videos surrounding her new album are rampant with conversations about whether we, as an audience, should be giving Michelle so much attention, there are equally tons of comments in support of Michelle, with a general consensus of, she might suck as a person, but she's not a bad singer.
Room for improvement.
Well, Elon Musk has been in the news lately for more ways than one. While we've already done a video on this man, it's definitely worth revisiting just to see the insanity that he's gotten up to lately. On top of being involved in the Amber Heard Johnny Depp defamation case that's currently blowing up in the media sphere, he also very recently bought Twitter and plans to privatize it. He bought the social media platform outright with cash for $44 billion. His main goal? To make the app more closely adhere to free speech with less censorship. Today we're once again covering Elon Musk. Tomorrow though, you decide. Let us know in the comments down below who you think we should cover on the next episode of Where Are They Now. While you're there, please like this video if you enjoy it. It would really help us out and learn as we grow. Now let's get into it. Elon Musk was born in South Africa to an extremely wealthy family. Elon's brother is quoted as saying that they had so much money they couldn't shut the safe properly. After his parents divorced when Elon was a child, he decided to stay with his father in South Africa, a choice that he would regret as he is completely estranged from the man currently whom he describes as, quote, a terrible human being.
Elon had an interest in computing and design since he was a child. He moved to Canada because he knew it would be easier to enter the US from there than from South Africa. Using his Canadian-born mother as an entryway, Musk obtained full citizenship and lived with his cousin in Saskatchewan, working odd jobs in a lumber mill. Musk then enrolled at Queen's University in Ontario before transferring to University of Pennsylvania 2 years into his degree. After he graduated, Musk and a few friends founded their first company, Zip2. Before the company was successful, Musk couldn't afford an apartment and instead decided to rent an office and sleep on the couch, showering at the local YMCA. The eventual sale of the company made Musk an overnight millionaire when he received $22 million for his only 7% share. In 1999, Musk founded X.com, which merged with PayPal. The company, now just called PayPal, became so successful that it was sold to eBay in 2002 for $1.5 billion in stock, with Elon receiving $100 million from the deal. In 2001, Musk became interested in space travel and space farming. When he found out how expensive intercontinental ballistic missiles were, which would be used to send plants to space, Elon decided to make his own company, now called SpaceX, that would create affordable rockets. To this day, Musk is the company's CEO and chief engineer. The entrepreneur also pivoted to heavily investing in a small company called Tesla that created electric vehicles out of lithium-ion batteries. He became the majority shareholder of the company and resided on the board of directors as chairman. In 2016, the creation of the Boring Company by Musk built underground tunnels through Las Vegas that would work to help alleviate traffic. Outside of his mega successful companies, Elon Musk got into some hot water, with his employees criticizing his managerial style. One person who worked closely with Musk says he exhibits, quote, a high level of degenerative behavior. Business Insider also reported that Tesla employees were warned not to pass Musk's desk for fear of his wild rampages. There are also multiple reports of Musk berating his employees and forcing them to work an insane amount of hours to keep up with the demands that he places on them. Fast forward to 2018, Elon Musk arranges for his employees to build a small rescue pod to assist children that were stuck in a flooded cavern in Thailand. It was during the construction of this rescue pod that Elon would realize the kind of power his tweets would have. The pod was built a little too late, and the Thai authorities didn't even end up using the submarine. A British diver who was instrumental in the effort to save the kids criticized the submarine to CNN, saying, quote, Musk has no context of what the cave passage was like, and he can stick his submarine where it hurts. In response to these words, for some reason, Elon Musk thought it was a good idea to post a tweet referring to the diver as a, quote, guy. Despite deleting the tweet, the diver decided to sue Musk for libel, which basically means saying stuff that isn't true and could damage someone's reputation. Elon then hired a public investigator to find dirt on the diver and sent an explosive email to a BuzzFeed news reporter with the subject line "off the record," accusing the reporter of being apologetic towards a man who was accused of having a The reporter screenshotted the email and tweeted it out, stating that, quote, off the record is a two-party agreement which I do not agree to. Despite the rather dubious journalism ethics being used here, the published email led the diver to take Elon to court, but the jury found in favor of Musk when he was ruled not liable. The entrepreneur's tweets once again got him into trouble when he posted about Tesla possibly becoming a privatized company. The tweet was labeled as untrue and the lawsuit was filed due to the damage it caused investors. The lawsuit was settled, with Musk being barred from the Tesla chairman position 3 years and having to pay $20 million from his personal money and $20 million from the Tesla company. Elon Musk has also accidentally tanked his own company by tweeting that he thought the Tesla stock prices were too high. This triggered a tanking in the shares of Tesla stock, move that got him into a lot of trouble with his own company. As for his personal life, Elon has had quite a few partners over the years. He dated electropop singer Grimes, with whom he shares 2 children. That being said, they broke it off pretty much right after Elon posted some pretty transphobic tweets and Grimes expressed frustration. That being said, officially they broke it off because Elon was too busy and work scheduling took a toll on their relationship. I'm sure it was a mixture of both, honestly. In a lot of people's view though, Elon's initial tweet may have been attacking Grimes specifically for their views on non-gendered lifestyles. This isn't the first time Elon Musk has been outed as being aggressive in relationships. In a Marie Claire article, Elon's first wife, Justine, describes living in an extremely strict marital environment where, quote, Elon's judgment overruled mine, and he was constantly remarking on the ways he found me lacking. Please honestly go read the article for yourself. It's extremely eloquent and eye-opening. And now, Elon Musk is once again in the news, this time for buying Twitter itself. Given just how much of a history he has with the platform and how it's affected his business, it seems like the billionaire is taking matters into his own hands and outright buying the platform for $44 billion of his own money in the hopes of opening the floodgates and allowing for full free speech. That being said, free speech is very different from hate speech, and I worry that sometimes Musk may not know the difference, instead referring to his own personal opinions to police the site. But because he's got so many companies, I already doubt extremely highly that he will have any hand in the way the website conducts itself. He tweets a lot, so if the world's richest man feels like the website he primarily uses isn't up to snuff, then I guess you really can just buy it for personal use. Pretty crazy. On top of that, Elon was set to defend none other than Amber Heard during her defamation trial with her ex-husband Johnny Depp. Elon and Amber had dated for a while, and Johnny had accused the pair of cheating with each other while she was still in the relationship, and they dated very shortly after Amber and Johnny officially broke it off. That being said, while in the beginning of the trial Musk had been on the list of witnesses that Depp's lawyer created, for some reason, as of the 28th of April, he is no longer set to testify. A source of Musk's legal team later confirmed that he will not testify, although they didn't give any reason as to why he suddenly changed his mind, or if the judge deemed his contribution not worthy of public record. Also, just a side note, I know my rants, whatever. Elon Musk does not pay any money in personal taxes, yet he decided to buy Twitter. He claimed in a tweet that he doesn't pay personal taxes because all of his money is actually caught up in Tesla stock, so he doesn't have any liquid funds. Yet he just bought Twitter for $44 billion in cash, so obviously that's not true. Just a heads up that billionaires are not your friends, and if he did pay personal taxes on his massive fortune, that money could have been used to fund repairing roads, opening schools, and aiding the government in funding social programs for underhelped members of society. So what do you think of Musk's acquisition of Twitter? Why do you think he's no longer set to testify in the defamation trial?